Good evening, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Good evening, Prash. How are you?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yes, sir. So we'll get started in about 10 minutes, sir. Thank you for your time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, should have their own plan, but I've joined meeting, Sci'versation. 20 seconds. Cyber.
Welcome all. We'll get started in a couple more minutes. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, I think you have something.
So, welcome all to this August gathering. I'm absolutely delighted and honored to have Dr. G. Narahari Sastry sir in today's Sci'versation. This is going to be the 25th Sci'versation ever since we started last September, I believe, in BioClose. Sci'versation by meaning we have both the discussions on science and as well as the conscience the scientist speaks. And in today's Sci'versation, I'm in fact very much glad to have Narahari Sastry sir in many ways. He has been the epitome of success, a kind of an inspiration, a motivational force, and probably one of the most oldest and as well as the youngest advisors for BioClose ever since it was incepted in 2005. He has always appreciated our BioClues efforts in many ways. And my first interaction with Sir dates back to 2002 when I joined CCMB Hyderabad, when I was just doing my MSc and I was also doing my project fellowship. And that was when Sir just was heralding his wonderful research arena at IICT Hyderabad. We had a flexibility to move from CCMB to IICT here and forth, for both the canteens and other stuff. And that was when, I heard his first lecture. Until that time, I was never I was never inclined towards computational chemistry or chemoinformatics. Or I was and I've been a kind of a sequence biologist ever since I did my MSc. But I was so fascinated to hear his lecture that I fell in love with chemoinformatics, and that was how I really learned the very first docking complexes. And then it's a history. Sir went on to lead a series of molecular molding efforts across the CSIR initiatives towards open source projects that he has spearheaded, and also across several other CSIR institutes that he has promulgated. He has produced more than 30 PhD fellows and more than 20 postdocs and several visiting scientists with him. As a kind of an Alexander von Bolt fellow, he was also a recipient of prestigious Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award, who was also incidentally one of the youngest awardees when Sir received it for the chemistry division. And then he has also been a JC Bose fellow. And ever since 2019, he has been serving as the director for the CSIR Northeast Institute of Science and Technology, the only CSIR institute in Northeast India. I think with his little words and more than appreciation that he has gotten more than 10,800 citations to his credit, Sir has always been a kind of an inspiration and more than honor for us for that he has been the president of BioClues. Thank you so much, Sir, for obliging to our request. And we would like to hear from you on your journey over the years, the scintillating years. So if you can start the speech with your first few lines, the integrating words that you would like to give us, and then we will probably go for a certain Q&A session. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Prash, and good evening, all of you. When you want to really talk about things which are personal to you, you realize that you started from a background which is very simple. And I started from a very simple background and studied BSc in Telugu medium and try to see what exactly that we have in life and not so much of big aspirations till intermediate. Because one of the first things that has happened is after the intermediate, there used to be some technical officer posts in the telecom industry where you can easily get into that. And somehow I joined Bachelor of Sciences after not able to get a good rank in MSET and IIT and joined BSc. Because at that time, when you get about a rank of 3,000 in an engineering entrance, you can go to a private college, but that's too expensive. And then I went to Master of Sciences, where I started getting interest into the research, mainly because we have teachers who are really very different. All of them used to come in suits and talk in English and explain concepts which are so nice and fantastic teachers. that we have at Masters at Usmania University. And at that particular point of time in 1985, when 5,000 people appeared for entrance, about 100 seats were there in the entire Usmania University, including the affiliated colleges. And getting a seat in the campus college itself is a great achievement. And some people like me have preferred Usmania University compared to University of Hyderabad, because we felt that Usmania University is something, a grandiose place. And then University of Hyderabad, it was very difficult to get along. And I was really attracted to two branches at master's level. One is polymer science and the other is quantum mechanics. It is mostly to do with the teachers who are there. And when I wanted to go to PhD after Masters of Sciences, there was a campus interview in Usmania at that time, and Ideal Chemicals Limited have taken me as a candidate. And before that, I joined University of Hyderabad with Professor Jamis. And at that time, the PhD fellowship was 800 rupees. And this Ideal Chemicals used to offer 1,200 rupees as an intern. And after 1 year, the scale was about 5,000 rupees, which is equivalent to a professor's scale. So everybody advised me that, no, you have to go to a job, because what will you do for PhD? So without really even resigning the University of Hyderabad PhD position, I joined Ideal Chemicals Limited and worked for 2 months, and came across several people, some of the master's students from IITs, and they told me that if you want to really do well, you have to do PhD. So after 2 months, I went back and then tried to join for PhD, because I really like to do PhD in quantum mechanics. And Professor Jamis was there, and then he was very upset that I left. And when I came back, he was not very happy to take me, but I have to really convince him. And then somehow, luckily for me, and I don't know for him, I joined back. And what has happened is, within a few months, our fellowships also have raised. And people at home are also not unhappy, because it's also financially a good thing to do. But what has happened when I joined University of Hyderabad is that we have seen a completely different class of people, like Professor Govardhan Mehta in chemistry, Professor G.S. Agarwal in physics, and several other people in life sciences, like Professor Ramdas, and many people are there. And these people are probably some of the topmost people in the country, and also comparable with the best in the world. So they used to work very hard, from morning till night, workaholics, and coping up with them. And then the atmosphere was very, very engaging. And there was not much of a choice for us. If you want to be in a tough group, either you have to put your best or you have to quit that group. So when you survive PhD, then I joined with some people in Jerusalem. I had an opportunity to go to Hebrew University, Jerusalem, or US, but I was attracted by the work of Professor Sastry. And Professor Shaikh is a world leader in valence bond modeling and configuration mixing analysis, and published a number of papers in these areas in high-ranking journals. And then I went to Switzerland for a postdoc. So at that particular point of time, I was in Switzerland. It was a postdoc with an experimental group where they are working on ion radical chemistry, because of my experience in valence bond modeling and mixing with molecular orbital theory and valence bond modeling with electronic structure calculations, I was hired. But when I came to Pondicherry University in 97, I was approached by bioinformatics department that if I teach bioinformatics, they will extend all facilities to me. And I have no idea what is bioinformatics. I am not even comfortable with, not forget about protein or the phi-psi angles or whatever it is. Not even a peptide bond, because I'm more like a small molecule guy and I'm trying to look at very, very deep computational studies on high-level computational methods. But at Pondicherry, I started teaching bioinformatics in 97. And I consciously did not take a single student for PhD till 2006. 2005, 6, from a biology background. But I have been teaching and I have been looking at bioinformatics for almost 8 years before I started taking students. And this was a lot of fun to work both in chemistry, which is a strong subject for me, and also in biology, which I don't know, because sometimes it's a strength that you don't know that subject. And in 2005, I somehow, in 2001, I got B.M. Birla Award, because when I was in Pondicherry University, we published a paper in JSCS that only me and my student. And it was a very interesting paper on the aromaticity, a new concept we have put forward. And at a very young age, I was recognized with this B.M. Birla Prize. And that was a very interesting turning point for me, because I was not considered myself taking very seriously as a scientist. But in 2005, when I got this DST Swarna Jayanti Fellowship, which is probably one of the toughest fellowship even, I cherish that bigger than the Bhatnagar Award, because the DST Swarna Jayanti Fellowship will give you an award which is a research grant, whatever you ask. But being a theoretician, I ask for about 1 crore and they give you. And more importantly, they give you a fellowship which is 25,000 rupees in addition to your regular salary. And most of these Swarna Jayanti fellows at that particular point of time or just before that used to get salaries which are comparable with the salaries of the heads of the issue, because you get your regular salary, on top of it you get 25,000 rupees more. And that was a big boost, because suddenly I realized that, oh, something I have done. But actually speaking, not much. We were just working on some aromaticity and pericyclic reactions. And I started publishing lots of papers in even BBRC or some JCIM, and we try to publish in bioinformatics also, because there are some students. And I started taking some students in bioinformatics from 2004 and 5. And we are working on publishing papers, mostly without any direction. You have some good area, you work on it and you publish a paper. And this particular activity was going on every year. You publish 15, 20 papers, and you take chemistry and biology, and you have so many different things, and then you try to somehow understand something, write something, and understand new softwares, new methods, or sometimes you write some small programs, and you keep on publishing papers or giving lectures. That was the life. And suddenly you will try to eye some awards. What happens? You have a National Bioscience Award of DBT. And it was almost, I don't know how I was selected, but somehow in 2009, I know how I was selected, because I applied and without much of a confidence, and I got it in 2009. But it was very surprising that with my number of publications and all, everybody thought that I should get Bhatnagar, but Bhatnagar, I got it in 2011. And during that process, I felt that we have to be focused more. And then if someone asks you what you have done, the probably not a very good answer is I published 100 papers or 200 papers and so many citations. That's all fine. But you will have to say, as somebody said, like Dr. A.V. Ramarao Padma Bhushan, that if someone asks you what you have done, you should be able to say in the simplest words. For example, you should be able to explain your not so literate grandmother what you have done in simple words. So that actually pinched me, and then I started taking some bigger assignments. And luckily, or fortunately, or not so fortunately, I failed miserably in accomplishing it. Then I realized that publishing papers is one thing and doing good science is one thing, because there are lots of issues, and it's very important for us to be motivated and to be active in work. And I feel that when you are young, you should be very, very passionate about doing things. And once you are passionate and when you are getting the professional skills, and you can always evolve into some good scientist. Because if you look at my experience, it's very difficult to say whether I'm a chemist or a biologist, or if you look at the distribution of my students, many of them are from pharmacy, a couple of them are from computer science, and currently I have a set of people who are from chemistry, biology, also physics, and I will be very happy to have even a PhD in computer science. Actually, a couple of them are there with doing PhD in computer science. This is possible because of CSIR system, or this is possible because I'm not a very intelligent person to focus in one area and then look at a bigger problem. So there are different elements which will excite each individual. And I believe that people perform the best in the field that excites them the most. So I am one story where several awards have driven me, and I'm very happy to get motivated by these awards. But at the same time, there's a lot of hard work that is there when we work in this direction. But objectively speaking, I don't think that I deserve any of these awards, because I did not do anything great rather than publishing a large number of papers. But when you are working hard, somehow people will also be kind. And if you can understand the kindness of people and then see that you are having a bigger responsibility to give something to the society, you will always be very happy. And sometimes when there are so many awards, for example, now, if I'm a fellow of all the academies and I got a J.C. Bose or a Bhatnagar and National Bioscience and a series of awards like this, I sometimes feel a bit uncomfortable that did I really do something which makes my place more deserving as a recipient of these awards. And with that responsibility, we are trying to do something. And I'm very happy that at least last 6 to 7 months, I'm spending more time on my science, which is very satisfying. Because when you are as an administrator, you spend a lot of time in administration. But the real fun you will have when you spend time on science. I don't know, Prash, I keep on talking in not so organized way. And I will stop here because this is a directionless talk. It can go on and on and on.
Wonderful, sir. I mean, always motivational and inspirational. Thank you so much, sir. It was absolutely a great start. I always keep hearing this magnanimous thing. Sir speaks, amazing English, lucid English, despite, he graduating, from a Telugu medium. Which speaks volumes about that. And one of the other things that fascinated me from your talk right now is, sir, publications doesn't really matter. What is that we are trying to give. back to the community. This is what probably the young generation should really be nurtured, should really learn this from everyone, sir. So before we start the questions, I would probably ask everyone to mute your microphones, please. There are a few people who have got their phones unmuted, so request you to please mute your microphones. Thank you so much. Sir, if you really look back, in fact, computational chemistry or cheminformatics or bioinformatics was still really at infancy in early 2000s or even in late 1990s. Even although there was a Department of Biotechnology, the bioinformatics program was just initiated. And then came these bioinformatics centers and all. But if you really look back, sir, there are more number of graduates from bioinformatics field in CSIR institutes than the so-called DBT institutes, where there are many DBT institutes that have really popped up. And yet, I would say that there is a big lacuna between the number of graduates who have outshone success in the areas of bioinformatics in CSIR institutes when compared to the DBT institutes. I'm not here, trying to compare the CSIRs or the DBTs or any federal funding agencies or federal institutes. But my subtle point is, probably we could have achieved more had we brought a pluralistic society with a big conglomerate of all these particular institutes, and ensuring that bioinformatics program was probably made more elaborative or more collaborative in early 2000s. Do you have any say on this, sir? Do you agree, or do you have any specific say on these particular points?
So this particular question is that with which particular branch you identify. If an ex-person is identified as a bioinformatics person, then they're worried about the field of bioinformatics. But most of the people who are recognized for things which are different. So when you have communities which are coming up, you have chemistry, life sciences, physics, engineering, earth sciences. Like that, it was divided, but there was no division as bioinformatics per se. But in life sciences, the structural biology and protein crystallography is traditionally very strong. We have Ramchandran's school, PNR, who is actually a physicist, got into biology in some stronger ways. Whereas there are a number of people who are working in crystallography, like Professor Vijayan and the group. So they have a particular perspective about how they look at the biomolecular structure from an X-ray structure or protein structure point of view. And the number of people who are absolutely trained as bioinformaticians, that group is very small. And if you want to appreciate any science or art or music or dance form, you should be a master in that. So to judge people in bioinformatics also, we don't have a generation which has a gray hair, which were trained in bioinformatics. So this is a time where we will have to realize that probably it's an evolving field. And one of the biggest problems that we have with bioinformatics is that when we push a field without a strong basis, people try to start with MTech in bioinformatics or MSc bioinformatics. These are all good initiatives, but in the absence of a strong teaching curriculum and in the absence of a strong focus on how to look at the jobs or future perspectives, you generate a large number of people who are neither in biology, nor in computer science, nor in physics or chemistry. So this mass of people who have this MTech or MSc bioinformatics, either from BTech biotechnology or MSc chemistry or this, they have come, but the job prospects appear to be not as good as one thought about for these people, because there are jobs that are there, but they are preferring somebody from a traditional background. Maybe they will take somebody from a BTech computer science or Master of Computer Applications or MSc Life Sciences rather than just a bioinformatics background. And this is more prominent when someone does PhD and postdoc. So if you look at the evolution of this course, whether it can be on its own, whether some very enthusiastic guys like Prash thinks about introducing bioinformatics at a school level, can we have a +2 bachelor's and master's with bioinformatics, or we should have only this introduced at the master's level, is still an open question. So many of the people who were sort of self-made bioinformaticians per se, rather than having a strong pedagogy right from high school. So it is an evolving field still, unfortunately. But what has happened is, in the late 90s, we have the systems biology concept which has come. And then synthetic biology also have played a very important role. And the omics, genomics, proteomics, and next generation sequencing. So then there was a time where people were arguing whether bioinformatics are important or not important. Now there is no argument. It is absolutely indispensable, but a number of wings, and the way in which bioinformatics is evolving is very fast, and it is integrated. It integrated itself with many branches of natural sciences in general and biological life sciences and medical sciences in particular. I think I confused more, but if I wanted to tell you a clear answer, is that the subject is still evolving, and we cannot expect that if I wanted to have strong leaders in microbiology, which is a very well-defined subject, biotechnology or biochemistry or plant genetics or plant sciences, life zoology, there are many other branches, and there is also pharmacy and pharmacology. People are doing science, and bioinformatics is also one of them. And this is strongly dominated by people doing structural biology, which is also good. But people who are having a strong computational background is still evolving. There is not that critical mass in leadership position. But younger people are there. People like Prash.
No, that's very kind of you, sir. I'm just learning. That's a wonderful thought that you have put. This also probably dates back to our lack of good STEM curriculum in the form of science, technology, engineering, and medicine, which we have often discussed, and the wonderful pedagogy statement that you have inserted. But do you see that there's a big hope coming up with a new educational policy that we have, sir? That the bioinformatics taught program, maybe there will be a collaborative mode. There will be a strong emphasis on admixture or interdisciplinary bioinformatics field with a new educational policy program. Maybe 10 years down the line, I'm sure that we can see a big hope. Yeah.
This a constructive approach with a new education policy where government is involved is very welcome. But what will be disruptive for any subject are individuals? Individuals like Rajiv Varshney, trying to bombard with paper after paper after paper publications in the highest quality, and then trying to look without any barriers internationally, and then like a rishi working on that field. And we need to have more such people. We need to have more such people for a longer time. In India, the problem is we don't have very young people between 70 years to 90 years. I repeat, we don't have many young people between 70 and 90 years. The youngest person is still CNR Rao. The problem is we try to think that after 50, 60, I am retiring, or 65, I am retiring. But this is an age where the people are at their best in United States or in many other places. So it takes some time for people to establish, and we need to be healthy, and we are. And if you actually see, a culture should come where people should have long careers. There was a statement that, are you motivated by geniuses or hardworking people? And without any doubt, the discussion is that I would definitely be motivated by Michael Faraday and our Marie Curie and people who are hardworking rather than the
Uh,
yeah. So
yeah.
there are people who has to be motivated. I will be motivated by Wright brothers, Marie Curie, and people like C.V. Raman. But there are others also who are born with geniuses and other things.
Sir, you are muted. I'm sorry. You are muted, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I unmuted myself.
Yeah. Please. Yeah. Please. Sir. Sorry.
Somebody has muted everybody, including me.
Yeah.
So, if you want to be motivated by somebody, I would be motivated by somebody who is working very hard with a lot of passion. So there are many examples like that. And for doing that, we need to have people who have long-term interest. And we need to have a culture which will take us practicing scientists beyond their retirement. And it should be like a lifetime ambition. And I think when you are a nation with not so much of a troubles with simple things, you will have more people, because still India is an evolving nation. And I'm sure that we need to have patience and positive aspirations. And we will retain our old glory as Vishwaguru.
Yeah, wonderful, sir. Wonderfully insighted. So moving towards science, I mean, I have probably a very open question. I'm not trying to be trying to offend anyone, but Indian bioinformaticists are considered the best chemoinformaticists. The other way around is 80% of bioinformatics practitioners in India are all either chemists who have produced themselves their passion towards chemoinformatics, or they have learned that art of docking complexes and other stuff, and that's how they try to come up with QSIR studies or CADD or development of docking complexes or lead molecules or whatever. And yet, having produced good number of chemoinformaticists from India, with good number of projects that have been delivered, there has been probably a small hitch that we couldn't produce a good lead molecule to the fore, or maybe a kind of a molecule that could be extrapolated even towards a good plausible drug target that can be deliverable to the market, not just in Indian market but also to the international market. I mean, taking the computational modeling as a kind of an example. Do you have any comment on this, sir? I mean, specifically on this,
Yeah, that's a very nice question. For that, we need to look a little bit into drug discovery and developmental processes in a little bit more detail. And of course, you are an expert in this area. I just wanted to say for the other people that when you are doing the drug discovery, you have the lead and lead optimization and then the animal models, and you come up to a stage where you get investigational new drug applications, IND. From there, the phase 1 clinical trials will start. And phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and you will get an NDA. The problem here is once you have an IND, the clinical trials are often prohibitively expensive. And the logic to go for a clinical trials is more depending on your purse rather than your brain power. So we need to have more people who are having confidence in the molecule. That's very important. And this confidence in the molecule is not necessarily based on the rational and any rational. It's not very scientific. One has to go ahead with this. And there are people who have gone ahead with Reddy's and Ranbaxy and Nicolas-Pyramid in about 15, 20 years before, but unfortunately, they were not very successful. And there are other people like Suvain or Hyderabad, NATCO. They were a little bit successful because they are able to look at the gap area of the legal things in patents and gaps, and then they try to orchestrate it in a better way, and mostly not based on their science. So when you try to look at the scientific strength, it does not automatically translate into drug discovery. That is one point. But then, what is the nature of chemoinformatics or the drug discovery scientists that we have in our country? In academia, we are more motivated by publishing papers and producing PhDs rather than having a sustainable interest in developing a knowledge and protect this knowledge from publishing or even patenting. Because if you are working in this area, your best work should be kept as a closely guarded secret for about a few years before you can get an IND or before you can get something. But people do not have that type of a patience because our workforce is mainly the voluntary PhD students who got JRF on their own, rather than you try to get a good industry or other sponsored project, you pay for a postdoc, and the postdoc will gain more in their knowledge generation rather than anything else. That a strong group is there in US. For example, I went to Wako in Japan. There were about 80 scientists. About 20 of them are international class scientists. And they publish 5-6 papers per year. And every single paper is in Nature or Science or something, Cell or New England Journal of Medicine. And when they send a paper, the paper will be accepted. There will be no comments, even if it is not at that standard. Because this journal knows that the institute itself wanted to publish. That itself is a big thing for them. Because the institute does not want to publish any paper unless they think that this is something great. Whereas there are people who are just trying to publish a large number of papers. So we don't have a robust scientific platform either in academia or industry or in a organization. For example, DRDO lab, ISRO, and other things, you cannot publish anything unless you get a strong approval and things like that. But we are sort of not having a strong plan to succeed. We are still trying to be a little bit as an evolving nation, probably because the resources that we can allocate are not good enough to take it to its logical ends. I just wanted to tell you that a strong group in Japan or in Germany or in US will have more funding per group if this group has some. There are groups with 30 postdocs, and groups I know with 2-3 NMR machines in that group itself, not for the university. And that group funding may be comparable to many of our university, entire university funding. So still we have an issue with funding. And yeah, we will have to grow, but more importantly, our attitude of many people and the perception about success is very different, because we are not asking the right questions. Forget about right questions. Many times we don't even ask questions. This is the problem. We just go as the wind blows, we will go.
No, wonderful, sir. I completely agree to this. So I also reckon that the biotechnology industry research assisted council program under the aegis of DBT, which we call it as BIRAC, and the open source drug discovery project, which you also co-led. They were supposed to be honest, fill this particular gap. And yet, with due respect to them, I think there are some failures, there are some lacuna towards either of these particular programs to a smaller end. Where are we really going wrong, sir? Is it because we are not really able to convert the successful academics towards entrepreneurs, or we are not really able to bring that particular product line towards the market, or we are not able to catapult our efforts towards successful growth of collaborative programs as such? Where do you think that we are really going wrong towards these directions? Thank you.
That's a very interesting question. I think there is nothing wrong in failing. And if AICD is not able to succeed, there may be reasons for that. And probably it's a bigger question that is asked, and people are not able to have enough resources, or they are not able to put enough efforts, or the perseverance is not up to the point. And all of them are a part of the reason. Because who owns the baby? Do you own the baby even when you don't have any resources? For example, if someone conceives about an idea, and if this person is out of the office, and another person will try to take care of this idea in the same fashion, it should happen like that, but it might not happen. And the people who are trying to take care of this baby and who promises them, probably they are very busy because the new boss has given another baby. And the new boss and new baby are more important, and the old boss and old baby are not that important. So the point here is we should be more motivated by issues and identify with issues, and then work with passion to make them successful. But unfortunately, individuals become more important than issues for most of the individuals. That's where the problem is, because that's how the system is. We are more interested in our short-term goals. A PhD student comes, and then every year he will be worried what happens to his PhD. And a junior scientist will be worried what happens to his science. This is all fine. But if they are all involved in a bigger picture, probably if this is making a huge impact, they may not realize that individually they may not have much to show to someone else or to themselves. But if they really put all their efforts in a focused way, where all their efforts are aligned, they will definitely get their due. And for that, we need a leadership. We need a person who will be constantly taken care of. Yes, you do that and you will get it. So this has to be done day after day, week after week, month after month. And more importantly, the person who says that should strongly believe in that, should have the capability to do it, and should also have the support, quote unquote, by other means. But there are many lacunae in each of these dimensions. So then what happens is, in a system, you wanted to motivate everyone, and you can see that you yourself are not able to get motivated. And that is the worst situation that you be in, right? I don't have to explain you. This is happening at every level. So we need to have a balanced effort, and we need to have friends, we need to have communities which will be able to take care of these emotional aspects. And when we think about a bigger goal, we need to have more number of people who share their vision. That's very important. So it will be a collective leadership rather than one or two individuals or one individual leading, because that definitely will have an issue. Because if any individual is not very happy with this individual, or another one wanted to be a leader or something, these interpersonal problems are difficult to solve now, difficult to solve 100 years before, difficult to solve 1,000 years before. So we need to understand that. It's not a new phenomenon. So we need to have a collective leadership. A tall leader.
Yeah, wonderful, sir. Amazingly insighted. Something on these sidelines, sir. I know there are certain interpersonal problems everywhere. Some collective judgments may not really be taken place. At the helm of your scientific leadership over the last 3 decades, were there any instances where you disagreed in an agreeable way, sir, with any of your colleagues, especially the senior colleagues, towards empanelment or establishing certain things that you really wanted, probably that didn't really work, and probably you might have disagreed in a most agreeable way? Because this is one of the questions that I usually ask every guest here, sir. Because the young generation should also learn how to disagree in an agreeable way, how to respect the opponent, and yet come to certain consensus and just move ahead. Because that will bring wonderful projects to the fore, and that's where the nations are built. That's where the projects are really built. So if you can cite 1 or 2 examples towards the disagreements in an agreeable way, that will be wonderful, sir. Please. Thank you.
Actually, whenever you wanted to do anything in life, conflict is an integral part of that journey. But if you are succumbing in trying to win the arguments, we cannot win the games. So you have to have the game in your mind. And many arguments you may win or you may lose, and you should not be too much worried about it. For example, when I was in Pondicherry University, Vice Chancellor ordered that every department has to close by 6 o'clock, and it should not be 4 by 8 o'clock. So I wanted to work till 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock in the night, and then 6 o'clock, I told the security guard not to close it. He said that he was ordered by the Vice Chancellor. I told that I am a faculty member here and I wanted to work. If you tell to say your security in charge that I will not let you close it. And then he was trying to argue, and then I said, absolutely no way. If you close this lock, I will open this lock. But then next week it has come, and then it was resolved in a way. So the problem is solved. And that was a big thing, because at that particular point of time, we wanted to submit a publication, and my 2 students are there, and I was allowed, and these students are not allowed with this. So this was an argument. And then next day I told my head of the department in a very, very harsh ways, because I like him very much and he also likes me very much. But what is this? I will not do that. And I shouted at him. And the head of the department went to Vice Chancellor in a very pleasing manner. Sir, please kindly do it. He put it in a very nice way. And the Vice Chancellor has agreed. And next time when I met the Vice Chancellor, he said that, yeah, you have to work. I like people like you. And we should never close the department. So there will be some conflicts which will be there, but you will have to use any of the techniques. For you, the most important thing is you have to work. Either you use a harsher thing or a nicer thing, this is important. But if you fight with a system, you will not be successful. You just have to see what type of a pressure that you have to put. And many, many such incidents happen. And most of the time, if you are very sincere, because most people know that GN Sastry comes to the lab before 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and he will be there till 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. And if we request somebody, it's very important in a pleasing way. India is a fantastic country. People will oblige, they will break the rules, unless you break their egos. So as long as you don't rub on the other side of a people, there are ways of getting it. Sometimes you will get into problems. They are inevitable. And you should see how to solve them. It's a property of a karya sadhaka. So they should not leave in between. And one can do anything in life, but not everything. So the priorities are important. Where you can compromise, where you don't compromise. That's very important. And if you wanted to win every single argument and every single thing in your life, this is not the best approach. You should know whether it is worth arguing, whether it's worth winning. A number of times it is worth losing. And you should know when to lose. And if you know when to lose and when to win, that itself is winning. Many times you win by losing.
Wonderful, sir. I mean, what an inspirational thing. I mean, we couldn't expect no more than this. This has been amazing. So moving further, you have been a great leader in CSIR over the last 2 decades, and especially over the last 2 years or 2.5 years at CSIR-NEIST, you have introduced many firsts. I think many of these particular things that have not been introduced in any of the CSIR labs as well. I mean, that shows the wonderful passion and energies that you have really brought in. How good was your transition, sir, moving from a molecular modeling lab, spearheading a wonderful lab at IICT, and moving towards an interdisciplinary field, understanding the nuances of a Northeast Institute of Science and Technology motives, working with physicists, chemists, biologists, and sometimes even civil engineers. How good was this particular transition for you? What were the challenges that you might have really faced, and how did you overcome them?
So let me dissect this into a few parts. The first part, that I was very successful, neither you nor I am qualified to come to that judgment. Actually, if you ask some of my scientists, they will probably tell how horrible I am. So this success itself is a subjective thing. So this apart, we will have to see what are the challenges that you have as a leader and what are the opportunities. There are great opportunities that I have, because whenever you sit in a committee evaluating people, for example, I am sitting in evaluating the Bhatnagar awardees for the last 3-4 years. You see fantastic applications, and then you go through them and then you learn quite a bit. When you are reviewing a paper, you learn quite a bit, right? And when you are in a committee where you listen to some 30, 40 or 50 presentations. This is almost like reading 10 books or 5 books. Lots of insights that you will get. So if you are in an open-minded way, this is a great advantage. That somebody who has no experience, you see, civil engineering to mechanical engineering to material science to biology to microbiology. Now we have started the COVID lab, and then INSACOG has recognized the CSIR-NEIST as an institute for the genome sequencing, and we have the nanopore and MySec, and we have a DNA sequencer ordered, and then this is going to be one of very important thing. And I am trying to see what we can do for the water and then microbes and soil microbes and gut microbiota and the sequencing of this genome. It's very, very interesting. These opportunities come because probably you are in this position. But at the same time, this position also will have a number of issues where you will have to compromise. You will have to spend time, and we will have to pretend to be interested in every small thing. It's not possible to be interested in everything, but we have no other option. And the other thing is, what will happen after 5 years or 6 years or 7 years, you are a director and then come back? What will you say? Can I say that I have done this, that, and fantastic? Probably, what is the risk-benefit factor? Whether you have improved as a person and a scientist after going through this directorship or some other administrative position, or you become worse. This goes all the way to head of the department or a group leader or whatever, because this is like a regular thing, and we have to balance and probably try to analyze what best that we can do at that particular point of time. So most important thing is you will have to be excited, but you should not be too much attached to this work. I think our traditional saying in Bhagavad Gita that karmanya vadika ma kadesh padachana. So you don't have too much of a hold on your destiny. You have to concentrate on the path. And as long as you have good health, as long as you have a strong will, there's a lot to do. And doing science is fun. And if you are able to do science without artificial barriers that you create, that this is a bioinformatics, this is biology, this is engineering, or this is chemistry, mathematics, you can do wonders. Because you should be motivated by the problem, and this problem may warrant different areas of science. So it's very important to be able to think, I don't say interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary or cross-disciplinary, it is without any disciplines. At one particular point of time, you should be more motivated and then ask right questions. That's very important.
Wonderful, sir. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for answering this. Sir, moving further, over the last 1.5 years, we have faced immense challenges owing to COVID. How has COVID affected the science at CSIR-NEIST, and also from your lab perspective, sir?
First of all over the world, scientists were seen as very important people because of COVID. And I was told that when the Wimbledon match was going on last week in England, the person who made this vaccine, he was a celebrity. Who cares for scientists? Now scientists are celebrities. Everybody is looking for them. And scientists have taken a center stage all over the world because people are looking for vaccines, people are looking for new drugs, people are looking for new everything. But having said that, the scientists who are not able to adjust and cope have suffered just like anybody suffered. So when a catastrophe comes, it all depends on how you react, right? It is a problem for doctors. It's a problem for healthcare workers. It's a problem for ASHA workers. It's a problem for everybody. So I just wanted to, so it is from my end. There
Oh,
was
sorry.
another meeting which started, but I will be continuing with this. Right. So please go ahead.
Yeah,
So
thank you, sir.
scientists have played a very important role, and I think we don't have much to complain. And if you want to do, you have a lot of work.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We'll not take much of your time. Final couple of questions. Sir, as a CSIR leader, where do you see the CSIR spearheading during the next few years, especially the post-COVID times? I mean, in terms of not only bringing that, what I call it as a collaborative convergence, which is absolutely very much needed during the post-COVID times, and also trying to come along with all the CSIR institutes. I mean, you are absolutely a wonderful leader, sir. Could we assume a stronger entities in the near future from the CSIR through you?
Yeah. Thank you for your very nice words. And I will definitely dissociate myself from acknowledging what you said as about the leadership. But the problem here is these are the opportunities that we have. And my very objective look at this situation is that there's an opportunity to do something. There's an opportunity to do some disruptive ways of how science, innovation, new knowledge can help the human being and society at large. So in that way, bioinformatics play a very important role. Computation and looking at things at a molecular level will play a very important role. So I feel that if you are really strong from a fundamental point of view and strengthen our pedagogy and strengthen our country to do good quality science with a lot of passion, definitely that is very, very nice. And from CSIR, I'm very happy that there is a strong leadership at the center, which allows you whatever that you want to do. And I'm very, very positive that we have much, much better days ahead in every respect. There's no reason to worry about. Things are good. And I strongly believe that yad bhavam tad bhavati. You are what you thought of. Your thinking process make you what you are. So have good ideas and think that you can do something. And definitely, if you work very hard, there's a lot that one can happen. And there are many open challenges.
Yeah. So one final question, sir, if you may kindly answer for young minds like me. I've always been fascinated by your wonderful vigor and calmness and composure that you always kept. I mean, ever since I met you first, some little over less than 20 years ago, you were very calm at that point of time. You were then probably 35 or 36 or 37, and now also you're also pretty composed. What makes you that composure, sir? What makes you that calmness, that stillness, that wonderful calmness that always surrounds you?
Basically, this is again judgmental, but maybe many of my PhD students might have seen how tough I am. And it is the parentage and my parents and Madhvi, most of you may know. My wife is herself a very, very well accomplished computational biologist. He was trained as a pure theoretical physicist or theoretical chemist. Now she is very good in computational biology and bioinformatics. And a good support at home in all respects, that is very important. And my kids and my wife, because probably I don't have much responsibility. Getting married at very early age is also good, because now both my children, they are 30 and 26, 25, and they are on their own. So that's also good.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So, in fact, we received several questions. In fact, we received about 183 registrations, actually. But there were some questions, but we didn't select some of the questions because of the brevity of time. But we have one question from Kiran. I would request Kiran to unmute your microphone and just ask one short question to Narahari, sir, please. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Kiran.
Kiran, yeah, please unmute yourself. Yeah. Kiran, we cannot hear you, I guess. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, please.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. My question is, how are the research institute in India are connected? Is there any change in the way they are connected in the last 5 years? What can be improved in this aspect? Like we life science students, can we contribute to this? Like life science students in the sense in India completely, can we contribute to this in the way they are connected? Because I see somehow not just the CSIR, but any kind of research institute, not just one. Because as you keep saying, all kind of a multidisciplinary approach has to be done. So is there any improvement happened, or how they're happening? And can we contribute like life science people from India for this?
Yeah, thank you very much. Definitely, if you want to contribute, you just have to have only one quality. Your strong desire to contribute. About the connectivity, it depends more of with whom, which individuals that you want to connect to. And there are a large number of like-minded people who will... Hello?
Hello. Sorry, I just wanted to, maybe my question was not clear. So connected between the institutes, I mean, not with us.
Between the institutes only.
Okay, sorry, go on.
It's a highly democratic. If two individuals wanted to connect with each other, the number of ways in which they can connect it and the number of memorandums of understanding between institutes is very, very high. And post-COVID, from the top down, there is a strong effort by the government to bring everybody together. They're actually forcing people, or I would say, if you allow me, they are suffocating people that they have to work together, whether they like it or not. That was an atmosphere, actually, in the last few months. People are very much interested to be on their own. And when you force them to work together, there will be some resistance, not from anybody else, from the individuals themselves. But now the government is making a strong effort that people have to work together on larger projects. So connectivity is much higher now. So if somebody is really interested, fantastic opportunities are there. In CSIR, there are many laboratories who has to work together. There's no other way. And DBT, DST, and CSIR are coming together. The secretaries of these three departments are constantly meeting, and there is a strong effort to work together. And IITs and universities are also having strong efforts to work together, because many funding agencies are also looking for projects which are submitted jointly. So things are better now compared to 5 years before in terms of connectivity.
Yeah, wonderful, sir. I hope that answers your question, Kiran. Thank you so much, sir. I mean, you have been an inspiring personality, and the kind of leadership that we are going through at BioClose and as well as at CSIR-NEIST is tremendous. We are greatly honored for your inputs, from time to time. And most importantly, the way that you have answered these particular questions, I'm sure it will certainly instigate some thoughts and drive certain positive vibes and energies in the young minds like me and probably Kiran and everyone here. There is at some point of time lacuna in every aspects of what probably we were trying to herald certain research association or research entities or whatever we were trying to build. You have wonderfully bridged that particular gap across 3 important institutes that you have really worked. And your leadership is certainly needed for Indian think tank, especially the CSIR institutes, to move forward for the next at least 10 years or at least 1 decade. So, and the third thing, you also have wonderfully, I've spoken about bridging the gap, taking the bioinformatics multidisciplinary fields where we really need to move forward, and the kind of the infancy or at the beginning phase that we are currently in, and that we have been in probably over the last 25 years. That entities, we certainly needed to bridge the gap. And I'm sure the onus is on certainly the young minds like us. And I'm sure, with your wonderful leadership, we can move ahead. Thank you so much, sir. Before I ask everyone to switch on your cameras to have a wonderful photograph with Narahari, sir, I would like to request Narahari, sir, to give his to give final comments, please. And we'll say goodbye. Yeah.
Oh, nice that I spoke whatever that I wanted to speak. Some of them might make some sense to you. Essentially, it's wonderful that we have an opportunity to do science, and research is like a habit which we need to cultivate. And it's most of the time research is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you look from a materialistic point of view, but it is worthwhile to take this perspiration so that you will be healthy throughout your life. And it's wonderful if you are able to enjoy. You will have to be bitten by this bug of research. And once you are bitten, and once you are completely infected with this research bug, it will be there throughout your life. And I wish all of you to be infected with this enthusiasm of research. Whether it is bioinformatics or not bioinformatics, it doesn't matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I would like to request everyone to give a thumping round of applause to Narahari, sir, for his wonderful conversation with me. I'm standing here, and I need not tell everyone, to stand and give a standing ovation to sir here. Thank you so much, sir. So thank you so much, sir. So one quick photograph. We are just absolutely on time. So everyone, please. I'm sure Kiran and myself will take beautiful photographs and share it in Facebook and as well as Twitter, please. Yeah, and also in the WhatsApp groups of BioClues. Yeah. We have smiling faces, and in fact, we have got good strength. At some point of time, we had 63 people attending and about 87 people watching from YouTube as well. This has been the best Sci'versation so far. So I heard that the people from Northeast smile a lot. I can still see that, but we can see more smiling faces.
Those who recently moved also.
Oh yes, yes, sir. So please, yeah, I'm Kiran. I hope you're also taking the screenshots, right? Yeah.
Yes, I'm also taking.
Yeah, thank you. So 3, 2, 1. Say cheese. Yes. One more. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Say cheese. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. This has been an awesome thing. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So friends, we have an advisory meeting. I would request Narahari sir to just stay for probably three more minutes, if we can just give opening remarks to our advisors. And Jaraman sir will take the session forward. So go and Jairam, sir, please. Others, you may please leave, please, quickly.